So thanks, it's great to be here. I just want to make a couple of points. The first is to tell you in a very personal way why I'm so committed to this. Francis mentioned that I'm a neurologist, and the turning point for me was when I was a resident at the Mass General and was taking care of a number of patients with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, otherwise known as Lou Gehrig's disease, which, as you know, is a quite horrible neurodegenerative disease that kills its patients within about 3 years. And I spent the evening, all of one night, sitting by the bedside of an ALS patient together with his family as he died in front of me. He had lost the ability to breathe, and I was there to turn off the monitors when he died and intervene if there was there's anything that needed intervention while this happened. And as I sat there, a sense of rage overcame me that this was, as you've heard others say, this is simply unacceptable. We have got to do better. And so I went back to the lab and, like a lot of people, did genetics. And genetics has taught us an enormous amount about the underlying cause of these diseases. But then my time at Merck taught me that there's a lot that we know about how to do that translation, but actually a lot more that we don't know. And then coming to NIH, I realized that ALS is not the exception; it's the rule. You've heard a lot of numbers tonight, but there's 6,000 diseases that affect the human family. And of those, there are treatments available for only about 500 of them altogether. And what that means is that if you are one of those people who has one of those thousands of diseases with no treatment, you get a doctor like I was who says, I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do for you, but please stay in touch. And I should say that back when I was in training, and it was only about 25 years ago, the research enterprise really hadn't gotten to the point where this kind of translation was really possible. That has changed, due in large part to the efforts of a lot of the people in this room. And there are some epical efforts like the Genome Project that we all recognize as sort of time points that were particularly important in that development. But I guess the way I would say it is that the basic research enterprise has delivered on its covenant to tell us how to make new therapeutics, interventions, diagnostics, devices. And what we're now struck with is a system which needs to be changed in order to make that happen. The system we have has delivered on what it was supposed to do, but the system we have was designed to do something else. It was not designed to do this. And that's one of the reasons that NCATS was formed. And one of the principles of NCATS, and you've heard this over and over and over again, is one of teamwork. Well, why is that? Well, one of my favorite quotations was from a German pathologist named Herner Vollath, some of you may know this, who said in the last century that much is known, but unfortunately in different heads. And that's particularly true in the translational spectrum. And so one of the challenges for us is to figure out how to make these team efforts, because translation is a team sport. It has to be approached that way. How to make that work better. I guess the last thing that NCATS is really focused on is the fact that science and medicine is not really organized the way Mother Nature organized it. Mother Nature designed a holistic organism where all the pieces are connected. But for a variety of reasons, science and medicine is done in a quite reductionist way, where we have heart doctors and lung doctors and eye doctors and nose doctors. And similarly, we have heart researchers and lung researchers and cancer researchers and eye researchers and nose researchers. But guess what? There is a lot of commonality among those systems, but those commonalities which can allow us to move forward remarkably fast at times. And you just heard Lou describe one, a drug for rheumatoid arthritis that is now usable for leukemia. That kind of thing happens all the time once you set up a system to allow it to happen. And that's one of the things that NCATS is going to do. Okay, so So the last thing I'll just illustrate how NCATS is going to do things differently and, may I say, better. I'm going to show you what real music is. So let's take it away. I should say, how did I choose this? Glenn and I chose this in a somewhat whimsical way, but with a serious note, and it gets to what I started saying. This is an aria from The Marriage of Figaro by Mozart, and as some of you may know, Mozart died at the age of 37 of causes which aren't entirely known, but there was some sort of infectious disease, perhaps a urinary tract infection or tuberculosis. But just imagine if Mozart had not died at age 37. What could he have created that our world would have to enjoy? That didn't happen. And it doesn't happen for so many patients now. And we can change that.